What's going on, guys? My name is Darian. I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. On this channel, I talk about fragrances, of course, but also throw you guys some style and grooming tips as well. So if you're into that, make sure you hit subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications by hitting the bell icon as well, so that way, when I upload a new video, you get notified. Guys, I just want to tell you guys, I had somebody comment on one of my videos about the style and grooming content. I always talk about grooming. I talk about tease handling. I talk about things that kind of help, that you can use on your body to help promote longevity of fragrances, just different things like that. But I have a video playlist on my channel as well that's entitled menswear. So if you want to see some previous content I've done that focus strictly on menswear for the most part, make sure you check out that playlist. But I want to let you guys know I have a video coming up where I'm going to be talking about suits and how to find a quality suit and kind of comparing and contrasting the price points. I love Tom Ford. You guys know that. I have now 3 suits in my collection that are from Tom Ford, which are very expensive suits. Tom Ford suits retail for around the $4,800 price point, going up to around $7,000. But we have some great brands as well that are around that $300 to $600 price range, which are very great quality, almost as great quality as the Tom Ford suits, which you're going to find out. And a lot of these trump those suits that you find in most department stores like Macy's and Dillard's, that their high-end stuff sells for about $500-600. So I'm going to get into that, and I want to show you guys the latest addition to my suit wardrobe. 2 suits from Tom Ford that I'm absolutely fascinated to have. But anyway, we're going to get into some more lifestyle and some more menswear and style stuff on the channel. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about comparing and contrasting all of the fragrances from the Aventus lineage of fragrances. We're going to talk about the original creedaventus. We're going to talk about Aventus Cologne, and the newest one, of course, Absolu Aventus. Which is the best one? What is the best of the 3? And I'm going to kind of give you guys my thoughts, and again, compare and contrast these fragrances, how they're alike, what's different about them, and the whole 9. And we'll see if we can come to some kind of conclusion. So if you want to see my thoughts on this or hear my thoughts, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
The BowTie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump right into this video. Creedaventus. I would probably say, still the most popular niche fragrance in the world. The only other fragrance that rivals that, in my humble opinion, is Baccarat Rouge 540. A lot of celebrities got on the Baccarat 540 bandwagon. And I talk to people that don't even know a lot about fragrances. These are what I call the everyday wearers that have the 1 to 5 fragrances in their collection that just like to smell good. Most of the time they're buying their fragrances from the big box retailers like Macy's and Dillard's. They wear a lot of designers, but they know about Baccarat Rouge 540 and creedaventus. So it is hard to deny, whether you like the fragrance or not, how popular the fragrance is and the long-lasting effect that the release of this fragrance, which again was released in 2010, that it has had on the fragrance industry as a whole. I cannot count how many fragrances there are that are direct clones of creedaventus or have been inspired by the creedaventus DNA. So much to the point that anytime we see the note of pineapple, a lot of people automatically say, oh, creedaventus. But that's how popular this fragrance is, and a direct testament to its popularity. Just by hearing the note of pineapple, the automatic association is creedaventus. So let's go ahead and talk about it. This fragrance was released in 2010, and it originally came out in a 4-ounce bottle. I always brag about this, guys. This is a batch, it's a 17N01 batch, and you can look it up. This is considered to be one of the most popular or sought after batches of creedaventus. Now, of course, When it first came out, it came in a 4-ounce bottle like this, which I wish they would actually go back to that. But the main notes in creedaventus, of course, are apple, pineapple, patchouli, birch, musk, black currant, as well in oak moss. And this is just, especially this one, guys. Again, I say this all the time. All of the inspired by fragrances and clones, nothing still quite captures the essence of what this is. Especially these batches. My gosh, this is good. But those are some of the main notes in this beautiful concoction of a fragrance. Creedaventus. And again, this batch that I had was 2017. Now, around the 2019 era or so, they switched from the 4-ounce bottles, and we went to 3.3 ounces. I have 2 different bottles of Aventus from newer batches. This one is a little bit older than this one. Now they have an all black kind of metallic cap on it, if you can see that. So it's an all black cap versus this one that has the silver Creed insignia there on the cap. So this one was a little bit, but both of these are about the same as far as performance and things of that nature. Now, again, newer batches of creedaventus don't perform like the 2017 batch that I have. Now that particular batch is more smoky, more of that birch is there. And with that batch of creedaventus, I'm getting about 7.5 hours of great, longevity, whereas with those, I'm getting like 4.5, sometimes 5. So it doesn't perform like the older batches. And again, the hit on it is that it's just not quite the same fragrance that it used to be in most people's estimation. And of course, now we have smaller bottles where you got more juice for about the same price back in the day, which is another somewhat of an issue for a lot of folks. But all that being said, I still love the fragrance. As you can see, even this newer batch, I've been getting my use out of it. I saved the 2017 N01 batch. That's kind of like a collector's item for me almost at this point. I don't like to wear it that often. Occasionally, if I'm wearing one of the newer batches, I may throw in maybe 2 sprays of that just to kind of help fill it out. But trying to hold on to it, because any of the 4-ounce bottles that you try to get now, I mean, you're gonna have to sell an organ or put a mortgage up for the second mortgage on the house just to buy it. So, I don't recommend that. So, years later came this, Aventus Cologne. I think it was released in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And I absolutely love it. A lot of the same notes from the original creedaventus. Of course, the patchouli, the birch, the musk. But with this one, they also added mandarin orange and ginger. So this is a fresher, if you will, interpretation of the original creedaventus. Now, it still has the essence of the creedaventus DNA in this fragrance. Now, I made a comment when I talked about Centaurus, and said that Creed had never sent me a fragrance. And there may be some truth to sometimes the idea of, and I don't know this for a fact, I would make an assumption. They didn't send me a sample of this when it first was released, and my initial impression from that sample was, it was kind of meh. Because the sample that I have, and this is something that I've learned, first of all, samples out of the smaller itemized a lot of times sometimes don't give the full essence of a fragrance. And also, when a fragrance has had time to macerate, the fragrance becomes better. So I didn't really get the full essence of what Aventus Cologne was until I got this bottle and really started wearing it. But so my initial impressions on it was and I never received anything else from Creed. And that's fine, because I have almost 20 bottles in my collection and most of them I bought myself. But anyway, Aventus Cologne, I absolutely love this stuff. Now, this is one of my go-tos for if I don't, I have a lot of time to think about what I want to wear. This is always a go-to for me because it's just so good. It's like the perfect signature scent. Now, it's a little bit, as I said, fresher than the original creedaventus. So you don't have pineapple here, but you have the mandarin orange that still gives a fruity presence, nice juicy orange presence to the fragrance. And the ginger, very spicy, but also fresh. a freshness there. So that helps contribute to this being a fresher fragrance. You don't have the birch, so you don't have the smokiness. So it's almost like the original Acqu Di Aventus, but instead make it fresher, add mandarin orange, and take out the smokiness from the birch. Now there's still a woody presence here, but it's just not smoky like the original. Now, when I compare this to the newer batches of Aventus, this one performs better. I get a solid 6.5 hours out of this versus the newer batches of Aventus that I'm getting 4.5, 5 hours of performance. So I do like that aspect of it as well. And I've always said, guys, this is a compliment beast, just like most of the other iterations of this fragrance. So this is a fresher interpretation of Aventus. This still has the core there, but not the smokiness. And again, the freshness of ginger. And we replace pineapple with mandarin orange. And the latest iteration of creedaventus, Absolu Aventus. I think this was released last year, 2023. And this has a lot of the same notes from the original. The pink pepper, the black currant, pineapple, patchouli, oak moss, and musk is here. But the main differentiator here is the spices. Spices, man, my favorite spices at that. Primarily cinnamon and nutmeg. Cinnamon and nutmeg. So what this did was maintain the original DNA of creedaventus, but now they've added the spices here, which makes it a darker, in my opinion, interpretation of the original. I love nutmeg. I love cinnamon and fragrances. Now, of course, this is a 2.5 ounce bottle, so it's even smaller than the original creedaventus and the newer bottles of creedaventus. But I absolutely love it. And the combination of the spices here, which again, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves, kind of gives that allspice presence, which is found in Hypnotizing Fire from the Harmonist. And a lot of people compare this to Sauvage Elixir, which had the same spices mixed into the Dior Sauvage DNA. So I do like what they did here, because when I spray it, I do think creedaventus, but again, with those spices, it makes it, of course, a darker, if you will, more spicier interpretation of the original creedaventus. So now comes the question, what is the best? Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, to me, it is hard in most cases to, replace the original. It's kind of like the success of Boyz II Men. The first album did great, but Boyz II Men 2 sold 14 or so million albums. It came back with the Evolution album a few years later, and it sold 6 million. Super, successful by all stretches of the imagination, but when you compare it to Boyz II Men 2, it was kind of almost looked at, I wouldn't say failure is the right word to use, but it didn't really live up to the success of the second album. That's kind of sort of how I look at the Aventus fragrance and the lineage of fragrances that have come from creedaventus. Creedaventus is Boyz II Men 2. So 14 million copies. And then you had these great fragrances that came on the tail end of it that respectively sold, they're 5-6 million copies, but it just doesn't quite live up to the original success of the original creedaventus. So at the end of the day, I honestly would say this, the original creedaventus, especially if you can get a 4 ounce batch or bottle, I would say, is still the winner at the end of the day. But these are two great, if you want to call them consolation prizes, then you can say that, because these both are amazing fragrances. Honestly though, I recommend if you could have all three, because in my humble opinion, they're worth it, and they give you different enough nuances where I think is a place in a collection for all three of them. Again, I would wear the original creedaventus year round. I would kind of mix the Aventus Cologne in the spring and summer. And then of course, when it got cool outside in the fall and winter, I will continue to wear the original and then mix in the Absolu Aventus. So if you can find, especially the Absolu Aventus, because it's so expensive, try to look on discounters, guys, and find that one. I'll try to see if I can link some of this stuff in the video, but if you can find a great deal on the Absolu Aventus, it's definitely worth having. I do think 500 and whatever I paid for was a little overpriced, but if you can find it for around $250, $300, I think it's a great value there. But again, the original is still the best, but I think there's a place in a collection of a collector for all three. What are your thoughts on this topic? Which is your favorite of the three? Or do you, like me, think there's a place in a collection of a collector for all three? I would love to hear from you guys down in the comment section. Now, as always, I sincerely appreciate you guys' time. I certainly appreciate your attention to these videos. I know you guys don't have to watch what you guys do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you're sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use the information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the BowTie fragrance guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell fantastic. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side.